Dr. Benny van der Merwe, thank you very much for being with us. And you've been a bit homesick lately because you've been in South America. Tell us a little bit about your trip.
I got quite homesick seeing other people's horses in South America, so it's nice to be back. Susan Rawat and myself represented South Africa at the ITBF, the International Thoroughbred Breeders Federation meeting in Santiago in Chile, where we are one of the 16 member countries. It was a very, very good meeting, and I can report, and happy to report, that there was a huge change in heart with South Africa, in that people were quite hostile to us in 2012 in Newmarket. There was a lot of buzz about African horse sickness, and a lot of that's now died down. People have accepted that it's a scientific solution that we're busy seeking and that we're not far away from getting, and that basically they should take the emotion out of it and let the science do the talking. So we were very well received.
So it seems like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel with regard to our horses travelling. Tell us a little bit about that information from your trip.
The most significant changes recently has been the acceptance that we do have to have a scientific solution, and with the PCR test being validated in various laboratories across the world, that would definitely be a light at the end of the tunnel. And the other one has been the change of heart of our own government, DAF, in that they are very, very cooperative, very, very helpful, and very keen to assist us in any way possible. That, along with the acceptance of the international community that the solution is at hand, gives me a lot of courage and a lot of hope for the future. And you can imagine I would have loved to have still been in Chile for Super Saturday to really rub it in with our friends and competitors as to the quality of the South African racehorse, but alas, we'd already left the shores there.
You said you were a little bit homesick about missing your horses. You have 8 impressive horses on the sale. Tell us a little bit about your draft.
We didn't have the right kind of horse for book one, so we kept our powder dry. We're making our debut, and we think we've got an exceptional draft. It would be headed up by a JPEG colt that we have out of a family that's definitely on the move. It's a family that never dies down. Having just come back from South America, it's covered with the E family, and this is an example of the E family. It's a half-brother to a little filly called Eventual Angel that Dennis Dreyer brought to the Cape, not for a haircut, but she unfortunately got injured. But she's won 2 from 3, and we would like to think that he might follow in her footsteps.
Lot 101 is Diamond Tiara, the Captain L filly.
Dam is a Western Winter half-sister to Tara's Touch, a very well-bred filly and a lovely individual. She should be well-liked.
Lot 207, Thunder Punch, the Jodpot colt.
It's a very nice Jodpot colt from a very good family, Mrs. Thunder, who comes from a strong American line, which includes Mabuba, whom we know slew the Red, the Stallion, and Leah's Secret, one of Tiger Ridge's best performers in the USA. Also a lovely individual, quite a scopy Jodpot. And
then Lot 262, San Raffo, the Mumbo in Seattle.
Well, now we're getting to the things that are really close to my heart, the Mumbo in Seattle. He's a lovely, strong colt from a family that was made famous by our famous trainer, Mike de Kock. A lovely individual, and we look forward to basically all the Mumbos. I gather there's quite a few on the sale, and we look forward to selling them.
Talking about Mumbo in Seattle, obviously you stand 2 stallions at the farm, and him being one of them. Tell us what we've got to look forward to with him.
Well, I have to say that we've been pleasantly surprised by these Mumbo in Seattle's coming out so early and doing well. We said to ourselves that we're very happy if they were late 2-year-olds and started performing and done reasonably well. But I was warned by some Australian friends that we shouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 of them doesn't come out and run real early. We've been very pleasantly surprised. There have been 4 of them on the track, of which 2 have won and the others have placed. We've had a very impressive debut winner, the other one, and the other one got very close in a feature race over the weekend. So, along with some more talk from the trainers and people who have them, we're very optimistic and happy for the kind of talk that's going on.
What traits has Mumbo in Seattle passed down to his progeny?
As a King Mumbo, people were quite nervous that they might have been stocky horses, but the one big trait that he's passed on is that they are leggy, scopy horses that stand over ground and are very, very correct. I'm also told that many of them have good actions, and one would still expect them to need ground, given that they are bigger, more scopy horses and would probably not be suited to go straight down the track.
You've got a new, I can't say kid on the block, but man on the block with Marchfield. You've recently acquired him, and tell us a little bit more about him.
We actually acquired Mamba in Seattle while we were hunting Marchfield. We basically closed the deal on Marchfield, and then the previous owner had reneged on the deal and decided to take him to Canada instead. He was a very accomplished racehorse. He was Canadian champion at 4 and 5 and was a classic winner at 3 and stakes placed at 2, so all the credentials for a stallion. He's by the mighty AP Indy out of a Red Ransom mare who was Broodmare of the Year in Canada. Before we acquired him, we studied the pedigrees of the mares he covered in Canada, and it was an extremely impressive book of 80 mares, which included some really top broodmares from good families, including the families of Harlan's Holiday and the likes. And should he produce a proper racehorse in North America, I, for one, will not be surprised. I went and inspected his baby and his yearlings in Canada, and a friend of ours did the same in Florida. They were also very, very correct, good bone, and by the mighty AP Indy, so anything could happen.
Moutonshoek is quite a young farm. How long has it been in existence?
We've been around for 8 years, starting with 5 mares and saying to each other, one day when we're big, we'd really like to have 30 mares. We now have in the region of 100 mares and 2 stallions as residents.
You said you've sort of, obviously being a small farm, you can pay a lot of attention to detail with regard to sort of selections and crossings and all the rest. And do we have a lot to look forward to?
Absolutely. We could pay attention to detail. We've got a farm of nearly 950 hectares, so we can have them in big paddocks, and we can rest paddocks for a minimum of 3 to 6 months.
Is Moutonshoek situated in a good area to breed horses in?
I would say so, having seen the success of our neighbours next door and having been involved. There's definitely some kind of an X factor from the environment. We all know that it's genetics and nutrition, but then the environment plays a role as well. And the performance of both these stud farms in the area has been absolutely exceptional.
On this farm, you boast about your strike rate. Tell us a bit about your strike rate and how successful you've been in that regard.
Well, obviously we can't compete with the established farms in terms of the aggregate for earnings on the racetrack. The only criteria we could possibly compete with would be the percentage of winners to runners, and I'm happy to report that in that criteria we are exceptionally competitive. If you go visit the NHA website for the statistics, you'll see that we are always in the top 3 when it comes to that statistic, and ended up national log last year in 2nd position on that. And this excites us a lot because we know what we've produced, the genetics of what we produced in the past, and we know what we've produced subsequently. And all of this basically tells a buyer that they should come buy from a farm where the horses are highly likely to win.
With your attention to detail, have you been able to map your steps going forward and sort of try to channel what results you want in the future?
Absolutely. We other than just upgrading the broodmare band on a constant basis, we're getting more and more familiar with our environment. We're in a much better position to produce the bulk of our foodstuffs locally. We're blessed with lots and very good water in the area, so we're producing our own lucerne, our own teff, own oats, own oat hay, and as a result we can ramp up the nutrition and really pay attention to detail.
You've spoken a bit about nutrition, and obviously it's very important to sort of prepare a horse or start it off with a correct nutrition, so when they go into the training centres they can stand up and be more resistant to training throughout their career.
Well, this is one of the things we discovered. It's kind of well known that we've been under pressure in this area from a mining perspective, that people want to put up a tungsten mine where we grow our lucerne. But there's been detailed soil analysis and studies done in the area, and we realized that we're very limestone rich, and so our horses have good bone. And this constantly comes out when our horses are screened with the x-rays for the various sales, that we produce a horse that's very, very good of bone, and we have 7 and 8-year-olds or 7-year-olds that are in training and still haven't broken down. So the results are good and they speak for themselves.
So it definitely sounds you've got a winning combination going on in this farm.
I tell you, we have a specific way that we breed horses. We have a program that we developed ourselves. We have been very fortunate that it seems to be working for us, and combined with a great environment and a great team, we really look forward to the future. We look forward to taking on the big guns.